Hello, this is Benjamin Miles. Today I wanted to go over the game board for the real estate investment game. So as you can see here, it's a thin piece of plastic printed out with many different colors on it. Now, you have a dice here, and this dice you roll and you can move that many spaces. Each one of these squares represents a different topic. So we'll have a list of topics on the side with a list of QR codes that coincide with them. Rather than getting physical cards and printing out paper version of the cards, rather than doing that for all of them, it's you scan it when you land on it, and we have it in the app where it randomizes the positive and negative outcomes for that specific topic. One of my favorite games of all times is it's a weird game, but it's called Binding of Isaac. I don't have to open it up right now. But it's called Binding of Isaac, and how it works is you go through these levels, but you collect items, and each item affects your stats a different way. If we take the same concept and applied it here, it would work really well. So, for example, you would start on red, so you would roll the dice. Let's say you get a 4 right here. You get a 4. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4. You can go any which way you want. So it's up to you. But depending on what your last card was, you might have to take certain actions. For example, if we go back to, if we go to if we go here, right, I have a list of possible ones. Cash flow. So you have the opportunity to purchase. So let's say the red block here starts. So you get a 1, and say let's say blue is cash flow, right? So you land there, and you scan the QR code, and the randomizer in the app gives you a card that says you have the opportunity to purchase an investment property. You right, and then it shows you on your phone or on the desktop. It shows you 3 buildings with the specs of those properties, right? Each with a different risk level. Each was a real property. So it's up to you to choose the right property that helps you the most. So, for example, one was built in 1802, one was a modern new construction, and one was a house that is on the Cape and has some water damage in the basement. So now, if you go, hey, the card I want to choose is the one from 1802. It's giant. It gives me the highest amount of cash flow. But guess what? What you want to do next, right, is you want to roll your dice and somehow get yourself over to Carpenter. Yep, so Carpenter. No, Home Inspector. or legal or a bunch of other ones that can come, but what you want to do is now in the app settings, that house was given a negative score on uh, on safety because that property actually has lead paint, but no one's disclosed it, right? So now, after 3 turns, you might be hit. Let's say you land on ethics, right? You get the option to now, oh, do lead paint instruction in or inspection in all properties, right? And it's a yes or no answer. If you choose yes, it costs you money. If you do no, it doesn't cost you money. But if you have previously gotten the house that gives you, if you previously got the house that was built in 1802 and is providing you a bunch of cash flow, right, and you choose no on the ethics question, then what happens is that house, right, you get sued by the family who just lost their son from lead paint poisoning, right? Because if it's a question under ethics, so let's add that right now before I forget. So check for lead paint. So check for lead paint in properties, right? So let's say you said yes, right? A little star pops up on your app saying, congratulations, you just avoided a $10,000 lawsuit for your property built in 1802 because it was before they stopped using lead paint, right? So everything connects with each other, right? And it's the order in which you get these cards and the actions you choose in order to take because, right, you might have went from cash flow, right, to let's say accounting, right? Great. It says add it to your balance sheet. So you pull up the accounting aspect of your app and now you're able to insert the income of your cash flowing properties. But if not, the money from that cash flow isn't recorded and you don't actually get it because your accounting aspect of the business wasn't there. Right? Now, let's say they chose the middle house in this example and they went with, so I said the 1800 one, a new development. So let's say it's a new development, right? And you don't have renters yet, right? You go over to marketing, for example, or advertising, either or, right? So marketing, if you land on it, this is talking about more strategy wise for marketing a property or your business. Advertising is really, so these two things. So now you land on advertising and you can go, hey, I want to set my advertising budget, right? You pay, if you pay $10, nothing happens. If you pay $30, nothing happens. If you pay $100, nothing happens. You have to pay 1,000 or more for something to happen. But if you hit marketing and you do the same thing and you do $10, guess what? You get a rental, right? So someone goes into that property up top. So everything's interconnected, and because we have it set with 36 different card sets, right? And you play through 25 turns once per day for, so you play this and you roll this dice and you move around this board once per day for 30 days, right? Each day, right, you get a market card, let's say. I don't know what to call it yet, right? But if we scroll up here, at the beginning of the game, once a day, you get a year card that has a QR code that's scanned using the app, which applies set criteria to the app to change the entire dynamic of the game. For example, the card you draw every day represents possible market shifts. So let's say day one, you draw buyer's market, right? Now, under buyer's market, that adds a certain criteria or a certain metric of data, right? A certain probability over these cards on positive and negative. And a few other safety. I'm not sure what other stats we can do for each of these, which then shifts the entire dynamic of the game. So another day you might get inflation rate rises or lowers, or global warming becomes severe, green energy become more valued, right? So okay, so that's your day card, right? You have, it's day 15 and you have 10 investment properties, including 3 pieces of land. Alright, so if you roll your dice, right, and you go to land development, equity, set goal, rental property, flipping property. I'm going to change plumber to, so like I was saying, so okay, so you did the market shift, right? You go to sell, for example, right? So you roll the dice, right? You get a 5, and okay, the options are you can land on sell, set a goal, accounting, expand team, recruiting, software, and revenue. Those are the one possible landing on, right? Now it's up to you to take the initiative to go to sell, right? Now if you sell a piece of land, but greenhouse or global warming has increased the value of solar, guess what? Now that piece of property that wasn't worth anything the day before is now worth $200,000, and the solar companies will pay you to rent that land from you with a 30-year lease, guaranteeing you cash flow for that amount of time. But if you went and you got the same card, the same exact card, but that market dynamic was not in play, then it would be a horrible decision, because it limits the possibilities of that piece of land in the future, because now you have a 30-year lease on it. Yes, it guarantees you, right, money on for them using your property. Or let's say when you get that card, right, you go to let's say you land on equity, right? Right afterwards. You gain equity in a solar company. Great. So now if you land on this space that says, hey, sell your land to a solar company, right? It will say your same solar company, and up top you'll see, or under the market, this is still under the, let's say, the global warming, so the value of renewable energy has increased. So it would behoove you to go to the sell to sell your property to your own solar property in order to boost the revenue of the system overall. So this is just an example of how the gameplay is gone, how it's done. All right, hope this video helped.